Hearts pumping through the chest, revs through the roof, gates about to drop, clean getaway for both riders there. Then Herlings try to go bar to bar with Gajser. Then it's Gajser and Herlings who emerge, and Gajser almost gets caught there by Herlings, who's a bit untidy through that first turn. Full gas as he, I'll tell you what, he's going to go swimming around there as well. There's no way back from there. Where did he emerge? In around about 6th or 7th place. There he is inside. Gajser is who leads then. Looked like he grabbed the 8th hole shot. Adamo in 2nd position. 3rd is Fernandez. 4th, Vialle. 5th, Herlings. Talviku in 6th position. 25 minutes plus 2. Perfect start for Gajser. Herlings was just a little, he looked like he wanted to have another stab in turn 2 at the end of pit lane, but then switched it to the outside, then got a little bit of whiskey, a little bit of whiplash as well as he got out of that turn, ran off the side of the track, and then not the first couple of corners that he wanted, but he's still there in that 5th place. But Tim Gajser up on the pegs, infield part of this racetrack. Herlings still there in 5th place. But it's Gajser, Adamo, Fernandez, Vialle, the lead Honda HRC rider at the moment, ahead of his teammate who's over on the left in purple. Closing him off at the top of the hill there, Vialle. Andrea Adamo, when I spoke to him yesterday, he said just still trying to figure out the way to ride the 450. He said a 250 you can ride it absolutely flat stick, full gas, without consequence. And he said the 450 you can't really do that without getting into trouble. So just having to figure that out, and he is doing it. A couple of pulls of the tear off there for the number 84. Just tear-offs and roll-offs. Anyway, working their way towards the end of this. It's not quite the end of the lap, is it? Because you've got to go finish line to finish line, but it's Gajser who leads the way at the moment. The gap between him and Adamo, 1.8 seconds on his Monster Energy Yamaha. Adamo on the Red Bull KTM. He's in 2nd. Honda HRCs, Fernandez, Vialle and Herlings, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Fernandez, the lead HRC rider. Vialle 4, Herlings 5, Guadagnini is in 6, Talviku 7, Hietz 8, Su 9, Bonacorsi 10 on the Ducati, Ferrato 11, Monticelli, Brumman, Puccinelli and Federico Tuani. They are your top 15. Plenty of time to run. Herlings was, what, about 5.5 seconds off the lead when they hit the line at the end of that previous lap. Herlings looking to go around the outside of his teammate in that right-hander. Just saw Vialle go to the inside. Herlings looking to rail the outside. Just behind these two riders here. It'd be nice to, Herlings has found his way past. So Herlings now going after the number 70. And still faffing around with those goggles. But Herlings now up into 4th. So Herlings then going after Ruben Fernandez. Tom Vialle trying to size up his teammate as he looks to try and find his way past, back past the bullet. But it's Fernandez there, number 70. Obviously a long time representative of Honda and HRC, of course, certainly in MXGP as well. Very, very familiar with his surroundings. Herlings just getting left behind at the moment. Best lap of the race for Gajser, 1:59.395. It was a 2-minute .7 for Adamo, 2:02.4 Fernandez, Herlings 2:01.4, Vialle 2:03.9, Guada 2:03.06. There's Adamo, 2nd, 3rd, Fernandez. The next two riders in shot would be Herlings and Vialle, but they're separated by about a second as we head down the back straight underneath the Pro Grip banner. Another positive, bright start for the former MX2 world champion here, number 80, Andrea Adamo. A little bit loose coming out of the turn there, but keeps it on 2 wheels. Here is Herlings. Vialle still breathing down his teammates' tailpipe. Gajser 3 seconds clear at the moment, ahead of Adamo. See Gajser top of the hill, there's Adamo, there's the flash of 70 of Ruben Fernandez. Then a bit of a gap, 1.4 seconds back to Herlings. That's him there on the right, number 84 in black and purple. Now just nicely doubling his way over those little singles there. Haven't seen too many people do that today, just because of the nature of the ruts, but ruts and sandy, wet sandy conditions, bread and butter for the bullet. Didn't really want to come and do this race. He just wanted to do Hawkstone and Leerop, but obviously here, I'm guessing that's more to do with the fact that Italian team, Italian International, that's been supported massively by Garibaldi, Giacomo Garibaldi, of course, the team owner over the years. But also, when you think of it, how important is a gate drop for Jeffrey Herlings, a rider who normally thrives on racing as much as possible and riding as much as possible. So, you know, get this one out of the way.
Sì, Marco, perché sono qua con Dirk Gruber, project manager KTM. Dirk, we saw Adamo in the front and a big race for KTM.
Yeah, I mean, Andrea stepping up this year to the big class, and I have to say, so far he's doing very well. He adapted pretty good to the bigger bike. His riding is quite calm, what is nice to see. No
urgency, but still on a good speed level. And I think it's going to be an exciting year if he keeps riding like he does at the moment. Okay, thank you, thank you, Dirk. Finger crossed for the race.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Dirk dice che Adamo sta guidando molto bene e nonostante abbia fatto il salto dalla classe minore da poco, lo vede molto bene sulla moto e speriamo che la gara continui seguendo questo flow. A te, Marco.
Jeffrey Herlings looks like he's closing in on Ruben Fernandez in third place as we were following Andrea Adamo. Look at the next two riders that may just pop up on the screen on the left. There is a 70 and the 84, so he is getting closer to that third place, Jeffrey Herlings. But as we said, a nice, bright, positive start for the number 80, Andrea Adamo here, hovering around about 3 seconds behind Tim Gajser, your race leader. But the top of that Acerbis Hill, any moment now, there you see the Fernandez and Herlings going through. Guadagnini here in 6th place for Ben Rui KTM. Then Jago Kietz on the MRT Beta, then Talviku, Bonacorsi and Brian Su. But Adamo on his own in 2nd place at the moment, but there is a battle behind him for that 3rd place between Fernandez and Herlings. See them in the background any moment now as we come out of this first turn. There's Gajser. Yeah, still separated by about a second at the moment, Fernandez and Herlings, as they hit the line. Jago Kietz 7th, Talviku 8th, Bonacorsi 9th, Su 10th. But Tiga, Tim Gajser, looking comfortable here in Mantova at the moment. Got to imagine that despite all of his experience, there was probably still some pre-race nerves. First gate drop a week ago in Sardinia, just because of that, and also new bike, new team, new surroundings, new everything. Heavy conditions, not easy conditions, but got a good start when he needed one. And looking comfortable, leading the way here on the 243 Monster Energy Yamaha. There's the 211 of Nicolas Lapucci. Where is he at the moment? Well, he's had an issue, and so too does Herlings. Herlings stalls. He can't get going. He's trying to drop that clutch, and that thing is just, he's just sat there at the moment. So Jeffrey Herlings out of race 1, first race on his Honda. So either the chain is very, very tight down there, or he's got a clutch issue. Wouldn't want to say either way, but Herlings comes to a stop in that left-hand turn, and Herlings out of 4th place with 15 minutes to go. Just looking down disconsolately at that motorcycle as it's parked there in that rut. The rest of the pack goes through. He's still trying to free it up. Look, has he managed to? I don't think he has. He's able to move a little bit through there, through that turn, but Jeffrey Herlings then out of race one. Tim Gajser, 3 seconds clear of Adamo, rejoins the race. So it looked more like it was a chain issue. So maybe he got something under the chain in that turn. Sometimes you can get so much sand and grit in the chain area and towards the front there that it can almost seize the chain, if you like, and tighten it so much. But normally in these kind of conditions, you'd probably run an O-ring anyway. But anyway, I just wonder whether he'll go into pit lane and just have a quick word, because he's got nothing to lose now, if you like, but he'll see. I think he'll just go by feel at the moment. Up onto the first hill then, number 84, Jeffrey Herlings. There's that sort of pick in the front and letting the back just compress to double his way over that little gully. Frustrating first race then for him. But he's up and running again now. I mean, if it feels okay, then of course he'll just carry on and just try and get as far up the field as he can. But Gajser, solid here at the moment. Adamo hasn't let him out of his sight in that second place. Vialle about 13 seconds further back. Then we've got Fernandez, Guadagnini now 5th, Kit 6th, Talviku 7th, Ferrato, Bonacorsi, Brian Su in 10th place. Simone Fallotti there, nearest to us. Six laps complete. How long have we got left? 12 minutes. More than 12 minutes. Gap still hovering around 3. I say hovering, it's gone from about 3.2 to about 2.8 seconds. Gajser 2:02.5 last time around, 2:02.6 for Adamo. But a nice atmosphere starting to build around this racetrack here. Air horns, fans in since first light this morning, queuing in thick fog, cold, chilly conditions. Certainly enjoying what they're seeing out on the racetrack. Picking his way through those deep ruts, far side of the circuit, before he prepares to head uphill for the 7th time. Adamo keeping him honest. Gajser. 4.99 there of Alvarillo. That reminds me, what of that log burner? Oh, I tell you what, that was close, wasn't it? Between Gajser and a back marker, very, very close, because he had no room to work as he went past that slower rider. Another nudge, and he would have been in the swamp to his left. So had to navigate that very, very precariously, did Gajser. About a power cut in here. Still got my screen though, but I've lost timing and lighting. So hopefully you can still hear us out there. But Gajser, watch this here. Back marker, just lent on him, and oh, I tell you what, very, very close there. Adamo would have seen that. So Gajser then, with about 11 minutes to go, continues to lead the way. Give you those gaps as soon as we get our time screen back here. But You see it's frozen on that left side there, the 1051, so might just need to keep an eye out for that 2-lap board. But Tim Gajser just picking his way through these deep ruts, these deep sandy conditions. More traffic ahead of him there. Where is Adamo? There he is. Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. In that second position. We've got power back. Just wait to reboot the timing. Working his way towards the end of this lap then. Tim Gajser through the chicane, alongside the paddock. There's Jago Kietz, MRT Beta. He was in around 6th place a few moments ago, so hopefully he's still circulating as such. The opening round, Jago Kietz 7th overall with an 8th and a 10th place for his new team, as he goes after Guadagnini. As Gajser seems to do just enough to stay ahead of Andrea Adamo at the moment, at the head of the field. See how deep some of those ruts are into those waves right there on that infield section. That marker just needs to be mindful of what's going on, and he is. Easy route through for the race leader.
Sì, Marco, perché sono qua con Massimo Castelli, capotecnico di Team Gajser. Massimo, we see a pretty different Gajser from what we see in Alghero.
Yeah, he have a good jump in the start, so he's quite aggressive in the first corner immediately. So he take the leader now. He's driving good. We still make a good lap time, a good line. We go very well. I mean, we can see.
You changed something on the bike between Alghero and Mantova?
No, the bike is exactly the same, just some adjuster the suspension setting, but the bike is the same like last weekend.
Ok, thank you Massimo and good luck. Massimo dice che Gajser ha avuto un buono spunto ed è stato un pochino aggressivo, come si diceva il nostro Marco Gualdani, nelle prime due curve, come avete visto anche voi. Gli ho chiesto poi se hanno cambiato qualcosa sulla moto di team, ma ha detto solo qualche aggiustamento a livello di sospensioni, niente di eclatante. A te Marco.
Over the line for another lap there. 9 laps in the books for Tim Gajser. Last time around, 2:03.091. Andrea Adamo was a 2:02.3. That gap down to 2.2 seconds as we start to hit a little bit of traffic. Alberto Ferrato there on the Fantic, 3:03. He is in 7th place at the moment. So Albi Ferrato, Vialle 3rd, Fernandez 4th. So Tom Vialle has found his way past his teammate to move into 3rd position. Great start for the young Frenchman. Fernandez 4th, Guadagnini 5th, Jago Kietz is still there in 6th, Ferrato 7th, Talvico, Monticelli, Bonacorsi, they are your top 10. Herlings is up to 24th place as it stands right now. 21st place, sorry. But just coming out of one of those turns, So obviously something locking up that stopped him getting out of that corner, kept him there for a good 30-odd seconds or so, 40 seconds maybe. And then all of a sudden it started to free itself up. So I can only imagine it was chain-related maybe, where grit, dirt, something, maybe even a stone got in there, wedged. But anyway, it certainly hampered Herlings, but he's back in the race, just outside of the top 20 at the moment. Yeah, not the ideal start, but that's exactly why you have these races as well, because if it was something else, then of course you can deal with it and you know, make sure it doesn't happen again. But I think it was more just yeah, wrong place, wrong time for the number 84. And Adamo, I did see a rider gesticulating as he came over a jump there a moment ago, and it was Adamo, and he now also has his problem. So Adamo's going to be out of second. Vialle, Fernandez, and everybody else, yeah, he's just trying to get the bike home, look. as quickly as possible, doesn't want to take the chances, so not sure what the issue is there for Andrea Adamo then. On the Red Bull KTM, he was in second. Joel Smets there, so for the second race in a row, Andrea Adamo having an issue. Remember, he was second in race 1 in Alghero, Sardinia, didn't finish race 2, and he was sitting in second here after 9 laps, but all of a sudden Andrea Adamo is out of this one as well. So Tom Vialle goes through in second place. The gap then between Gajser and Vialle, 18 seconds, 17.9 seconds. Guadagnini moves up into third for Venru KTM. Jago Kietz, MRT Beta, fourth. Then we'll have Ruben Fernandez would be fifth and goes through in fifth, 10 laps complete for him. Ferrato sixth. We wait for Monticelli, Talviku and Brian Su and Federico Tawani. Herlings up to 16th, that'll be 15th in no time at all. So just under 4 minutes to go then, plus 2 laps. So about 8 minutes to go. His lap time's more than 2 minutes. Gajser 202.4, Tom Vialle 204.4, 205 for Guada and Kietz. Those two separated by just over a second and a half. Adamo, before I tell you what, you wouldn't want to get in his way, would you? He'll flatten you. He'll walk straight through you. Got his airport walk on. But Gajser has been inch perfect so far. Good start. Had to hustle through the first couple of corners to stay ahead of number 84. Jeffrey Herlings. That's exactly what he did, and then he's pretty much controlled the race from there. Gap hasn't been any more than about 3.5 seconds whilst Adamo was in tow. It was down to about 2.8 when Adamo went missing and out of the race. So Vialle now about 17, 18 seconds further back in his first outdoor ride, competitive ride, since joining Honda. Of course, he rode the Paris Supercross in November as his first outing with HRC. Herlings now up to 14th. And his lap time's 2:03.2 in traffic. A little bit of work to do then between race 1 and race 2, unless they've got their spare bike here, in which they can also just drop onto that, I would imagine. But they'll certainly want to get it washed off and stripped down and see exactly what the situation is with that motorcycle. So a couple of surprises then in this first MX1 race. Uphill for the 12th time for the 243 Gajser. Brian Su up to 9th, Fernandez down to 10th. So Ruben Fernandez, he had a bright start. He was there in around about 3rd, 4th early on, wasn't he? Got caught and passed by his teammate Herlings, and then Vialle. Vialle pushed him down to 4th place, and Ruben Fernandez just dropping down the order. I wonder whether he's just got arm pump with it being his first race back. You'll hear riders talk about that. You know, it's cold, first race, the intensity just a little bit different. In fact, Hanser has gone through in 10th. Nick Leaks has gone through in 11th. Fernandez down to 12th as it stands right now. Herlings goes through in 12th. So Ruben Fernandez having issues because Antonio Chiochet goes through in 13th. So not sure what the issue is there with Ruben Fernandez. But 3 laps to go. Guadagnini and Jago Kietz in the right-hand side of your screen. Those two still fighting over 3rd now. So Gajser leading the way, Vialle 2nd, Guadagnini 3rd, Kietz 4th. Both desperate for a top 3 finish, just for the psychological point of view for both riders. Ferrato 5th, Monticelli 6th. Still waiting for him to come through. kind of racetrack that you have to ride and respect rather than race. I know it sounds strange, but the harder you race something like this, the more chance you do have of tipping out of a rut, things like that. Gajser finding a perfect balance at the moment. Ferrato 5th, Monticelli 6th, should be going through any moment now. Wait to see where Herlings goes through. He was 12th a moment ago. About 9.5 seconds behind Nick Leaks, but when you look at Nick Leaks, 2:11.4, Herlings 2:01.8, you would imagine in the space of a lap, he would have found his way past his fellow countryman. First 9 riders have completed 12 laps. That takes us down to Brian Sue. And we wait for Jan Panzer to come through, and then maybe Herlings. One thing he won't do, the number 84, is pull in. We know that. So Leaks, Panzer goes through in 10th. Leaks 11, Herlings 12. That gap 3 seconds now between him and the fellow Dutch rider. 2-lap board is out for Tim Gajser, who is about 4 minutes away from a first victory for his new team, Monster Energy Yamaha, Factory MXGP. But frustrations for Andrea Adamo and Jeffrey Herlings here at this first race in Mantova. Tom Vialle over the line in 2nd place. He's got about 39 seconds over Guadagnini and Jago Kietz. Sorry, 14 seconds. The overall gap is 39. So Vialle, Guada separated by 14.7, and Jago Kietz another 1.5 seconds further back. And then Ferrato, nearly 20 seconds back. A little bit more traffic on the horizon for the 243. Just dancing his way around, picking up the front, being nice and light on that front end. There's your championship differences at the moment, championship standings. Gajser, of course, adding another 25 points to the 38 that he picked up a week ago. Guadagnini will move up to 2nd, Koonen will drop down to 3rd. Of course, Ferrato will come up to him as well, but obviously no Koonen here this weekend. 1 lap to go for Tim Gajser. Guadagnini doing a great job hanging on to that 3rd place. How much closer, or has he been able to put some distance? No, not really. Still about 1.5 seconds between him and Jago Kietz, the Belgian, on that red, white and blue MRT Racing Beta. They're still to work their way towards the end of lap 14 to take the 1-lap board. Meanwhile, opposite end of the circuit, Tim Gajser. Of course, you can say, you know, if, but, maybe, and all the rest of it. And we won't know how different this race would have been had Adamo not suffered his problems or Jeffrey Herlings had his issue. But what we do know, though, is that this has been a masterful display from Tim Gajser. Hasn't panicked, got his way to the front, stayed there, controlled the race. Looking at picking up 25 points in race 1 here in Mantova. Handful of corners to go. This left-hander here, drop down, you've got your left, right, through the chicane, and then down the straight, back towards the finish line area. And this is that left-right. Home straight here for Tim Gajser, the 243 Monster Energy Yamaha Factory MXGP rider. Perfect start and a perfect win here in Mantova in race 1 for the Slovenian. We wait for Tom Vialle. There he is, top of your screen, through that right, onto the face of the jump. This is 3rd and 4th here. Guadagnini and Iago Kietz. Guadagnini on the Venere KTM. And Iago Kietz on that MRT Racing Beta. Just starting to steam a little bit on this final lap. The number 93. But Guadagnini will hang on to take 3rd place in race 1. He'll be pleased with that. I'm sure the team will be as well. And Iago Kietz right there behind him, still around about 1.5 seconds further back. Herlings up to 11th, so obviously getting lapped in the meantime there because he's already over the line. So at some point, Herlings maybe came into the pit lane. Gajser would have gone past him, and then who knows? That might have been the scenario there. But Gajser wins it from Vialle, Guadagnini, Iago Kietz. Alberto Ferrato should be next in 5th. And Ferrato goes through. And then we wait for Monticelli, Talviku, Tuani, Brian Su, and Jan Panzer. So an interesting first race then. For those here this weekend who are lining up for the first time, Guadagnini looks happy. So the Venere KTM rider will make his way back to his team truck. Well, they'll probably nick the bike off of him, take it to the jet wash bay. Give you the results in a moment. Here's the highlights of the race, though. MX1 race 1, all eyes on 84 and 243 as they went bar to bar. Adamo got pushed to the outside, and then Herlings here tried to get up on the bank. Gajser got across him here. Herlings then decided to go defensive, got out of the line here, and then rejoined just the other side of the tabletop in around about 5th or 6th place in the next couple of corners, but it was Gajser with the Aikma Holz shot. Fernandez in 2nd. Adamo got around the Spaniard to take over that 2nd place on the opening lap to give the fans something to cheer about. That was the gap there. There was Fernandez in 3rd. Herlings was in 4th at that point, having found his way past his teammate Tom Vialle in the next couple of corners, racing as much as possible and riding as much. Then Adamo here, doing his best to keep Gajser in his line of sight. Those two separated around about sort of 2.5, 3 seconds, and it was staying pretty static. But there was a moment there for Gajser where he nearly got nudged off the side of the track and into the swamp. Kept his balance, kept his composure. Adamo then had an issue. He would be forced to withdraw from the race out of that 2nd place. Herlings also had an issue, but no such problems for Tim Gajser, who once Adamo was out of the way, had about 17 seconds over Tom Vialle. Vialle would still come home in 2nd, about 23.5 seconds further back. But it was Gajser, Vialle, Guadagnini, Kietz, and Ferrato, your top 5 in race 1.